There came a magazine from Australia called Cricket Lifestyle, and there was an old paper mart at Prabhadevi opposite Kismat Talkies who had this issue, and he put it in a plastic bag and he hung it near his other books, and he knew that I was into cricket, so he asked me that, do you want this? So I asked him the price and he told me 35 rupees. Now you can imagine 35 rupees in 1983 was a very big sum of money. And I don't know what got into me. I managed to muster up some courage and ask my mother whether she would give me 35 rupees to buy that magazine. And to my great surprise, my mother agreed. Hi, I'm Clayton Muzzalo. I'm Group Sports Editor at Midday, a popular newspaper as you all know. I'm happy to share my experiences about book collecting, following cricket, collecting magazines, making friendships, interviewing cricket stars and the smaller cricketers also. It's a delightful experience for me to see all my books displayed in this virtual museum. I was stunned when I was first shown it. I hope you will like the experience. I hope you can gain something from what I've said and be fascinated by my small little collection. I'm happy to share any experiences of mine on another platform apart from this, and I'm really delighted that this could be done in this fashion. My journey in cricket started way back in 1978 when my father got home an issue of Sportsweek World of Cricket. He was in the advertising line, so he may have gone to the Sportsweek office one day to seek an advertisement for his publication, and the associate editor, Mr. Sharad Kotnis, handed him this copy which he brought home, and I was fascinated by it. I still remember the cover. In fact, I don't have it, but I have another copy of it. It was Alvin Kalicharan of the West Indies and Steve Rickson of Australia on the cover. I was fascinated by that magazine, and things just kicked off from there. Then came the 1979 World Cup, for which the Illustrated Weekly of India brought out a special issue edited by Raju Bharatan, again a person who I came to know very well. Again a fascinating issue. I lost my copy in a couple of years' time, only to get it back through an old newspaper agent, and I have two copies of it now. So one I keep here, and if anyone wants to refer it, I give the other copy to someone to refer. I don't part with the other one. So that's how it all began. After that, the 1981 Ashes, the Botham Ashes, I was fascinated by the performance of one man in that series, and things just went on from strength to strength there. Well, my mother also supported me very much. I remember in 1983, I was in my 9th standard, and everyone used to say, oh, 9th standard, it's tougher than 10th standard. You have to give more focus on studies and things like that. So in all that fever of, trying to do well in school, trying not to fail first of all, there came a magazine from Australia called Cricket Lifestyle. And there was an old paper mart at Prabhadevi opposite Kismat Talkies who had this issue, and he put it in a plastic bag and he hung it near his other books, and he knew that I was into cricket, so he asked me that, do you want this? So I asked him the price, and he told me 35 rupees. Now you can imagine 35 rupees in 1983 was a very big sum of money, and I don't know what got into me. I managed to muster up some courage and ask my mother whether she would give me 35 rupees to buy that magazine. And to my great surprise, my mother agreed to give me that money, and off I went and bought that issue. But it was a remarkable show of support from my mother. Well, there was another person, rather two, who I am very grateful to. One is my cousin brother Jude, who used to give me his old Sportsweek issues to read once he was done with them. So whenever I visited his house in Bandra, there was a lot which he kept for me. And also his brother-in-law Leslie. I will never forget these people because they offered a lot of support. Those the night when I used to get those issues back from Bandra to Prabhadevi, I wouldn't sleep. I would wait till morning comes where I could go flip through the magazines. And this is even till today. Even if I get a lot of magazines which I have not read, which I have not seen, you can bet I'll spend the whole night, maybe up to 3 in the morning, going through those magazines. So my passion runs even till today. Well, I have not kept track of how many books I have. I may surprise myself with a large number if I got down to counting how many books I have. But at one point of time, I started listing all the books I have. Went into many pages. I've stopped. It has to be updated now. This is the right time to do it. But again, it doesn't mean that because of lockdown we have less work. So I'm trying to update my list also. No, I have not kept a track of how many books I have, but I know what I have and what I don't have. Yeah, those were major assignments. I had great fun working with Sandeep Patil on a little book we got out on cricket anecdotes. He had great fun. He was living at Shivaji Park then, and we used to meet every week. And invariably he had some notes in his pocket which he used to pull out because he was also involved with NCA. He used to go there for some coaching camps. Then he said, "Arey, I've got 5 new anecdotes." It was great fun, great enthusiasm. I have to thank one Mr. Jay Boki, who is in America right now, and he was our book promoter, and Roli Books published our book. Nice little book. It's out of print now. Many people still want copies, but no way copies are available. It was fun to do. And then, of course, I did a book with Khalid Ansari, my former boss in Midday, a big sports fanatic, contributed a lot to sport, and he approached me to do this book together, and I was glad to associate myself with him. We brought out, our concept was very clear. We did not want to get into writing reams on Tendulkar. Khalid Ansari was very appreciative of whatever I had in mind. He accepted my concept of having some good literature on Tendulkar, good articles, good interviews, and we did a compilation of that. I think it was well received. The first edition went out of print. I think the second edition is available still. That was Sachin Born to Bat, which we did in 2002, and it another satisfying experience for me. Sachin Tendulkar obliged us by writing an introduction to the book, and great stuff. Well, I used to indulge in a lot of book hunting. There's a friend of mine, Austin Coutinho, a former Bombay probable, could have played for Bombay in the Ranji Trophy. He's a brilliant cartoonist now, and I met him at Marine Sports, and we used to go to the fort area every Saturday to hunt for books, magazines. I got a lot of books by book hunting there in fort area, and there was one book which I always wanted to buy, was Ian Chappell's autobiography, which I had missed. Rupa and Company published a paperback edition in the late 70s. I missed out on that book because I admired Ian Chappell a lot as a captain and a player. So I wanted to read his book. I hunted for 8 years and I could only find a copy when I went on a sales trip to Pune. Coincidentally, after 2 days after I got that copy, I found another copy which was a hardback. So I bought that too, because a hardback is a hardback. It lends special value. So I was glad that I was able to find Ian Chappell's book ultimately. Well, certain books in my collection are autographed and numbered. For example, Mark Taylor's autobiography, it's a leather-bound book in a case, and also Jack Pollard's History of Australian Cricket. That has been signed by Bradman below a message, and it is numbered. So obviously those books are very, very valuable in my collection, apart from the books which are autographed by people. I have a copy of Farewell to Cricket autographed by Don Bradman. I also have Bradman's autograph on a visiting card, which my friend from America managed to get for me. And I've got a few cards signed by Bradman. Nothing great, no great collection on Bradman, but this is the pick of the stuff actually, and these are my treasures. Well, I first started writing in 1988. My first article was about a school's match between Sachin Tendulkar Shardashram School and St. Mary's in the Jahil Shield final. Shardashram lost that match, a very rare match to lose for them. So I started writing from then onwards. My first piece appeared in Midday. And after that, I started providing statistics to Midday. So that's how I got a foothold in the paper as a freelancer. I became a full-time employee in 1994 June, and I've been with the company for the last 26 years. I've had some great moments, great opportunities. Cricket has, taken me places literally. I've covered 2 World Cups. I've My first big event was the 1998 Mini World Cup in Bangladesh. My first tour was 1998 Sri Lanka. So cricket has taken me to a lot of places, and I think even if you ask the players, what is your greatest satisfaction by being a cricketer? Even for cricket followers and cricket journalists, what is the greatest satisfaction for us? The satisfaction is the amount of people you meet on the tour, the good people you come across, the great friendships you create, which are lifelong. That is the biggest thing in this profession, and even as a cricketer for me. The friendships you make, the contacts you develop, the insights you discover, the personalities you discover in the game, and the biggest of all is meeting your heroes. I mean, how fortunate I am. I idolized Ian Chappell. Today I can call Ian Chappell a friend who happens to write for my paper also. So God has been great, cricket has been great for me. My special interview would have to be meeting Winston Davis in his home in Beauty in 2011. Winston Davis was a former West Indies fast bowler. I followed his career, I watched him on TV, and it so happened in 1997 Winston Davis was in the West Indies and a branch fell on his neck, which left him paralyzed, neck down paralyzed. And I always wanted to go and see Winston Davis. So I managed it on my third tour to England. I spent a lot of money going there because it was not very close to where we were staying in Northampton. And firstly, Winston was very kind. He agreed to be interviewed. But there was a very sad part to the interview that I couldn't bear to see Winston in such a state, such a paralytical state. He was on his wheelchair. Everything he did through his wheelchair. Went around his living room on a wheelchair. And what also shocked me was how positive Winston Davis was. He started believing in Christ after a while. But this accident occurred immediately after that. So I asked him, how was that to accept that you embraced the Lord, and after that this happened? He took it very well. He said, no, that was God's plan for me. So, and I am what I am. I have to. I'll remember his quote. He said, there are certain things I can do in this state. There are certain things which I cannot do. And he was so positive that anyone who's suffering from any disease or anything should just meet Winston Davis. And you see, despite of all his problems, he's so chirpy and he's so cheerful and he's so positive in everything he does. So that has to be one of my most memorable interviews. It was really worth it. And I am still in touch with Winston. I am a friend of his now. We often talk to each other. Great guy to know. I am a great admirer of Sachin Tendulkar for the way he batted, for the way he transformed this country, for the way he got people to follow him and change the nation. Look, Sachin Tendulkar has had his critics along the way. And I remember Ganguly saying, to the media once, that whatever you all say, the man has got 100 international centuries. Can you match this feat? Maybe Kohli can get there. But for someone to score 100 international centuries, it's a Muhammad Ali kind of a feat. And you cannot take it away from Tendulkar. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed following his career. He was very helpful to me. He has spoken to me in the most difficult circumstances. I remember when Bradman died, I had to make a call to Tendulkar at 7 in the morning. He was in his hotel room. I went to the Taj lobby, used the house phone, got in touch with Tendulkar, wanted a quote, got the quote, filed it for my edition. So he was so obliging. And look, Tendulkar did not need any publicity to do that. He just did it from the good of his heart. From, he valued certain contacts who have been with him. I've known him since his school days. So that value of friendship and contact. I mean, of course, if you are a journalist, you cannot be anyone's friend, but he values relationship, and I like the way how he played the game. He was aggressive. He was the Muhammad Ali of cricket for a while. He was aggressive in his own way. He did not have to shout at opponents or punch the air and things like that. Very, very rarely did he do it, but he did it with moderation. He did it with class. I would like to see more of it in modern day cricket. I would like to see a lot more examples of sportsmanship, because the game is based on sportsmanship. Why is cricket called a gentleman's game? Because of its values. So the more we see of this, the better. By saying that, I am not saying that players should be friendly with each other on the pitch. No, they cannot be. But abuse is a problem with many people, and so I have a problem with it also. There is no room for abuse in this game. It's not that much of a life and death situation that you've got to abuse your opponents. Lot is done because of TV, because it attracts eyeballs. I'm not for it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for featuring me.